Hello, beautiful mamas. It's Althea back with you, your feng shui expert and coach, talking to you about the fire element and how imbalances can show up in the body. So my previous post was all about how clutter can show up for the fire person, and today I want to go more into the body aspects of fire and talk again about the fire person's strengths, right? So that we really understand what it looks like when the fire personality is in its power. You're in your power and you're in balance. So fire people, they're very enthusiastic. You know, I tend to think of them as the ringleaders of fun. It's always great to have a fire person in your life in some capacity because you know who you are. You have this incredible ability to not just find the party, but to be the party. Really, people are just drawn to you. You have a natural ability to communicate with others, to understand emotions, so you tend to make a great empath, and people feel really comfortable opening up to you because you just have this way of being comfortable within your own skin. So you know, if you're a fire person, you might be very charismatic and optimistic and very heart-centered, intuitive, and sometimes prone to excess. And that might have a little more to do with some of the imbalances that can show up. So the body type that could be characterized by somebody who is fire, you know, they have active hands. They might have a pointed chin. Think of that person with like kind of the heart-shaped face, right? So the fire is definitely associated with the heart and coming from the heart. So you might see somebody with a very pointed chin. Think of like fiery hair, like really curly hair, fine hair that's just kind of wild and robust. Or it could be somebody who also walks and talks very quickly. Like if you think of fire like a flame, there's that spontaneity, that spark, that unpredictability, and it's quick, right? It's quick to rise. And the direction is actually up and out. So the season associated with fire makes sense. It's summer, and the temperature is hot. The color is red. The direction is up and out. The body excretion is perspiration, which of course connects to that heat. The sound is connected to laughter. So lots of joy, fun, celebration. Fire people can be just kids at heart, right? They really have this playfulness about them. There might be an association. The taste that fire people might be drawn to is bitter. So think of coffee. The smell, burnt. Fire governs the blood vessels and complexion. So sometimes you might see imbalances in the skin, like it could be rosacea, it could be skin blemishes when there's a sign of imbalance. It's also associated with the tip of the tongue. So if you look at a fire person, they might have a nice red tip of tongue, but if it's like really red, that can be a sign of imbalance. And so there are actually 4 meridians that are associated with the fire element. And for the sake of time, I will mention the 4, but I will mainly focus on the heart. I'll go more into depth about the heart meridian, and I'll just kind of name the others so that you know they exist, and you know that I'm just scratching the surface here, and this stuff is really in depth, and this is what, you know, Chinese medicine is based on, what shiatsu is based on, and acupuncture is based on. So this really does go deep, but I'm just kind of like scratching the surface just for you to get an idea of what meridians are associated with the fire element, and also kind of like coming from like that feng shui perspective, right? Okay, so as I mentioned, heart is one meridian that's associated with the fire element, and I will save that for last. Then there's the small intestine, which governs, it's all about separating the pure from the impure and impurities in the body. Then there's the pericardium, which is the heart protector, as well as kind of like the relationship governor, and it has to do with your ability to maintain long-term relationships and what can what it can look like when that goes out of balance. Then there's the last is the triple energizer, which has to do with regulating your immune system, and it's also the thermal regulator of your body. So it's regulating 3 different divisions of your body and making sure to keep the flow of chi in balance. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the heart, which has to do with governing the blood, your circulation, as well as your mind, which is considered the shen. And so when it comes to blood circulation, you might see imbalances showing up, such as heart palpitations, as well as spontaneous sweating, or it could also be cold hands and cold feet, which, you know, is a signal that blood is not circulating well through your body, right? There's some stagnancy there. When it comes to the mind, it has to do with your mental clarity, your ability to focus. Imbalances can show up through the signs of insomnia, disturbed sleep, nightmares. And then when it comes to the shen, it could be your ability to be self-aware. So a person who's out of balance, you know, because fire people are so intuitive. So when there's an imbalance, they might start to lack self-awareness and may have a sense that their spirit is not anchored, okay? There can also be an excess of emotions, so excess laughter or excess crying. So that's like when your emotions start to become sort of dysregulated, but like, you know, it could be kind of like mania, right? Like think of somebody who could be manic depression. They have these extreme highs and lows. Also, they might stutter. That could be a sign of an imbalance. So stuttering, difficulty expressing oneself, difficulty expressing one's feelings is another sign of an imbalance. It could also show up as a lack of motivation, right? So the fire people are always kind of on the go, and when they get out of balance, they might just have this feeling of not wanting to do anything or not able to do anything, or maybe they've kind of, you know, run themselves to the ground. So the pathway for the heart meridian, think about like if you were to hold a basketball, it runs from the center of the armpit all the way from sort of the bottom edge of your arm all the way up towards the pinky, the tip of the pinky. So that is the meridian pathway of the heart. And so if you feel like you have some sort of imbalance, maybe, you know, you're finding it difficult to open up, you're finding yourself wanting to hold things in, you're feeling like you're really emotional, really upset, or really like you can't slow down, this might be something, you know, that you could work on, an area that you could work on. And so one stretch that I learned in school for shiatsu, I'll just back up here and show you, is basically you would bring your legs together, bring your feet together, and then clasp your pinkies, right? Stretch up, and then stretch your body all the way down and forward. And you can let your head drop to the ground, and then just take a few deep breaths in and out. Now you can hold any posture for as long as you want. You could do three deep breaths in and out. you could hold the posture for 1 minute or 3 minutes, and you can really listen to your body as far as like when you feel like there's a release of tension, because oftentimes the imbalance in the heart meridian has to do with a lot of excess chi, as opposed to the bladder, which often shows up as a kind of like yin kind of depletion. So it has like kind of this sinking feeling, whereas imbalances in the heart tend to have this yang feeling where the body actually needs to be stretched out quite a bit to restore balance. So that's one common thing that shows up in terms of body work. Okay, and so another way to stretch the heart meridian is to take some blocks and set them on the floor, and then place the bottoms of your arms onto the blocks, and bring your body back so that your knees are kind of perpendicular, and then you just bring your head down between the two blocks, and this is a great way to open up your heart. And again, you can take a few deep breaths while you're doing that, and just hold that pose until you feel a very nice release. So I hope that you've learned something that maybe you didn't know about the fire element, about the heart meridian. And of course, if you're curious, like I'm sure you can always do a Google search about the fire elements and the meridians associated with them to learn more, or let me know, and maybe I could make another video that's more in depth about the other meridians associated with the fire elements. Okay, so thank you so much. I hope you all go out there and bring the fire, and I will be back with you talking about when to adjust the fire element in your home. And let me know if you relate to the fire element in this way, if you notice any of these imbalances in your heart meridian, or if you're feeling like you're in balance. I would love to hear from you, and like this video or share it with someone if you feel like it might be helpful. And I will look forward to seeing you next time.